everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to r/Am I the A-hole, where we have 2 incredible stories. If you're new to this channel, a sub would be great. Let's jump to the stories. Our first story is, am I the a-hole for telling my son that if he changes his last name, then I no longer want to be his father? Let me start off by saying my son, Adam, is 22 years old. Back when my ex-wife, Tori, and I were trying for kids, we found out that I was infertile. We decided we'd adopt, and then about 4 months later, my ex-wife was pregnant. I was thrilled because I thought maybe the doctor made a mistake. No, I was wrong. My ex-wife cheated on me, and I didn't find out until 20 years later. Tori told me 2 years ago that she cheated on me, and we did a paternity test to make sure. And well, Adam is not my biological son. My ex and I divorced a few weeks later. Ever since my son found out the truth, he wanted to meet his biological father. He did, and they started to become really close. It hurt me much more than I thought it would. He's an adult. He can make his own decisions, but it hurt really bad. They started to bond really well, and all of a sudden, Adam became really distant from me. He's been like this for almost a year and a half. I tried to text him to make plans for dinner, and he said he's busy with Chris, biological father. I tried numerous times to connect with him by calling and texting, but he never made plans aside from like a meal every other month. We used to do stuff every other week, but it's been completely different since he found his biological father, Chris. I couldn't stand it. My son, who I had raised since he was a baby, treated me like I didn't matter. Anytime we'd actually have plans, he would still be cold and distant. What I mean by that is that he's become much more defensive about his personal life. I'd ask him how classes or friends were, and he'd just say they were fine, but never go deeper than that. He also changed his major from econ to computer science and didn't even mention it to me until a year later. I told him how much he was hurting me because of how distant he was, and he apologized and said he'd do better. He never did. I told him numerous times, and he never changed. He was still distant. What was the final straw for me was the phone conversation I had with him last week. He said he was going to change his last name to Chris's because he liked it so much and because they were close. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him, I can't believe you're going to do this. That's really disappointing to me. If you decide to change your last name, go ahead. But if you do that, then I'm no longer your father, and I don't want to be involved in your life. He hung up on me. I don't even bother reaching out because I know he wouldn't respond. I stand by what I said. I meant every word and still do. The last name change means he no longer views me as a father and views Chris as his father, despite the fact he's 22. My family told me I'm being unreasonable. Meanwhile, my best friends think it's reasonable. I was told to post it here. So Reddit. Am I being an a-hole? Info. Something to add. After I found out about Chris, I took a couple of days and didn't speak to my ex-wife or Adam. They didn't contact me. I didn't contact them. I needed a break. Edit 2. A lot of you are asking for a deeper meaning behind this, and I think I finally figured out why Adam's been so cold. A few months before my wife told me the truth, we were in a very long argument. His grandmother, my mother, left a big inheritance for him that I am fully in charge of. Enough to pay for college and have enough wriggle room to not stress all the time about money. After a semester at the university, he started dating this girl. He was head over heels in love with her. I never met the girl, so I have zero clue how she felt about the relationship. Suddenly, after a few months of dating, Adam asked me for about $3,000 to be deposited into his account from the inheritance. I already paid for the semester, so this was odd to me. I asked Adam why he needed the money. He said his girlfriend was having trouble paying for her tuition and asked my son to help her. I told him no, because it seemed to me that she was treating him like a piggy bank. He spent over $1,000 on her in just under a few months. He would constantly talk about how he loved going shopping with her so he could buy her things. To me, she was just after my son's inheritance, and I was right. What I said to him was basically this. Adam, you haven't been dating this girl for very long at all, and for me to give you that much money, just to spend on her after a few months, doesn't sit well with me. That's the money your grandmother left you for your college career, not hers. If you two were more serious, then I would think about it. But I'm not giving you that much money just to give to your girlfriend." Turns out my guess was right, and she was after his money. Their relationship broke up shortly after, and Adam and I had an on-again, off-again relationship ever since. Adam was upset with me, but he eventually got over it after a few months. Then we found out about my ex's affair. I don't know if that's the real reason he's so cold, because there was a huge argument between us that went on for weeks until his greedy girlfriend left him. Help me, Reddit. Am I the a-hole in this family drama? Our second story is, am I the a-hole for telling my sister I don't trust her to watch my son? I'm a 19-year-old man with a 3-month-old son. His mother surrendered her rights and is no longer in the picture. I work 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. at a gas station, and I raise my son. That's what I do these days. Only one of my friends still speaks to me and hangs out with me. I live at home with my parents and sister, 21, and pay a small rent each month. I can't afford to move out with the baby. My parents help me when they can. My sister doesn't like my son. She once told me she thinks he's an annoyance and hindrance. If he cries, she complains. If there are baby clothes in the laundry, she complains. Basically, the baby exists and that gets her angry. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my best to be a good dad. My sister has never offered to help with the baby beyond holding him briefly, and she hasn't done that more than about 4 or 5 times since he was born. The other day, my friend called and offered me a really great opportunity for some side work. He works construction, and they needed an extra guy for some installation work. 4 hours, and I'd get $400. I jumped at it. Any extra money can only help. I started trying to find a babysitter. My sister was hanging out in the living room while I walked around the house on the phone. I managed to find a sitter who said she didn't want to be paid, and I went to get the baby ready. My sister asked me why I didn't ask her when she was sitting right there. I told her I didn't think she'd want to, since she'd never offered to help before. She told me it was different. This was for work, and not just me wanting to sleep or whatever. And he was about to go down for his nap, and he's pretty easy when he first wakes up. She told me it wouldn't be a problem. I asked her why she didn't say something between phone calls, and she said she didn't think she needed to because we're family, and family asks each other for help. I reminded her of all the times she complained about the baby and me, and called him names and told me she'd wish he'd never been born. I asked her why she thought I'd ever trust her with my son. She started crying and told me that wasn't fair, and I needed to remember that the whole house was dealing with a baby, and she was just having a hard time adjusting, but she'd never do anything to hurt him. I told her she should have spoken to me about her feelings instead of acting like a child. I took my son and left. When I got home, both my parents get on me because my sister told them I'd accused her of wishing bad intentions on the baby. Am I the a-hole for being too honest about my feelings when my sister offered to babysit? ETA. Apparently, God is on my side right now. The lady I mentioned in the post who babysat my son for me, she goes to church with my mom, and when I dropped my son off, I explained that I was having trouble finding a sitter or paying for daycare. She called the pastor and explained the situation, and 2 days a week, my son can attend the church nursery school from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. for free. And the lady has offered to take my son 1 day a week during the same time frame, and has also found another lady who will take him for 1 day a week, same time frame. The ladies both requested $50, which I'm happy to pay. That means there's only 1 day a week and 3 hours in the morning that I need childcare, and my mom has agreed to watch him for the 3 hours and drop him off. I still have to figure out Fridays, but Monday to Thursday are covered. I can breathe again. Hey Code Karen community, do you feel that this guy was too hard on his sister, or do you give him a pass because he was under so much pressure to be a good dad and provide for his son? Comment below.